We can't be talking about robotics when we're dealing with flooding right now. We're dealing with flooding. We're dealing with food palaver as it stands. Today is World Food Day, but people are dealing with severe flooding in communities. Farmlands have been eroded.
Okay, before you answer, Dr. Ayoola, I have a different perspective to it.
Okay.
So he's actually right, and the commissioner is right.
Yes, they're both right.
They're both right. The reason because we can't have that commissioner who does not understand that tech is the way forward to solve these problems, including flooding and electricity. We cannot have him sitting in that seat.
That's correct.
That is why the youths have to participate in politics and should be more interested in politics to take people away like him from power and actually people who really understand it better.
Exactly, which is why
types of youth. There are two types of youth, and that's where we have to get it right.
Okay.
Number one, we have those youths who have something doing. Either medical doctors creating waves in the medical sector, engineers building new innovations and helping people in little ways. Now, when those kinds of people get into politics, they know what the problems are. They know how government can help the business sector. But we also have the other group of youths who have always been mentored by politicians, and all they know is to get there and do their own politics.
Exactly.
Take care of the stomach infrastructure.
Dr. Ayoola, you deserve a shekere. Shekere to that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can I continue? So,
please go ahead.
When someone tells me, drop what you're doing, we don't need it now, join politics, I'm thinking, okay, join politics to do what exactly? Why not let us start with getting the youths, have something doing, and advise the government, and from there, they can get used to having, governance issues and contribute as politicians. But for now, we don't really have enough technocrats who are youths, who are into different things. And many times, those abroad will not come to a country that does not support business ideas. So that's the major problem. Like for me, I told myself when I was coming to Nigeria that I will not ask government for help. I want to set up my own company without power supply from Nigeria, without government funding or anything. So that if I can survive in this situation, then I know that government funding will only be a boost and not a requirement for survival. And that's the way we started. And it has been very helpful because now when people in government, when international organizations see what we're doing at RAISE, they're like, wow, we should work together, we should partner. Because they've been able to see someone doing something that can actually survive without government.
Okay.
And for an idea to survive without government, it must be satisfying the needs of the people. Because the people are the ones now keeping that idea alive.
Which brings me to this question I'm about to ask, Dr. Ayoola. Where would you place robotics development at the moment in Nigeria? Where are we? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are we?
We're at 2 now.
2?
Yes, we are at 2. Even America is at 5.
TWO 2.
2, yeah, TWO, yes.
Dr. Ayoola, you're very generous. I thought you were going to give us a 0.5, but okay.
No, you know why I won't do that? You know why I won't do that?
Please tell us.
Before I came to Nigeria, maybe 0.1. Why I am not giving us that low mark any longer is that for the first time, and I think Nigeria needs to be given accolade for this, the federal government is now actively involved in the tech space, which is quite unusual. Now we have a federal government who has a National Center for AI and Robotics in Abuja. We have a federal government that is actively involved in 5G, getting us to have that 5G, and it's critical for tech space, by the way. We now have a federal government that is looking into innovation. Now we have the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation. And that alone is a policy, it's a statement that every agency of government should be looking into things like drones, smart systems, IoT, Internet of Things, and co. So once the government is showing that that's the direction everybody should head, we've got stage 1 done. Stage 2 is the education sector, looking at the primary and secondary schools. For the first time, we now have many schools wanting to include robotics in their curriculum. And that just means that the younger ones now appreciate the space, robotics, and it's critical for future development. But I can't go past the 2. because our higher education, tertiary institutions don't yet have sufficient capacity to deliver training on robotics and AI. And that, for me, is a bad situation right now.
So how do we close that
if
gap?
We can't produce graduates, how will companies take advantage of the skill? So far, we're there. We have to move.
So how do we close that gap right now?
That's what I'm doing. That's what I am going to do.
But you clearly
You are
can't
just
do
one
it.
man. You can't do it by
You can't do it alone. And it's a long shot.
It's a lot of work. It's very ambitious.
So, the truth is this. We need to get the knowledge out. There's one problem I've observed, and that's something I'm trying to fix on my own, and hopefully eventually to become a norm.
Okay.
We have too many tech people in the tech space that only know one thing about their field. They cannot provide the full solution. For example, I met with someone, what do you do? He said, I'm a web designer and a web developer. I said, web developer, that's good. So that means you can actually build the back end, the server system, you can build the database system. He said, no, I just designed the web page. I said, but then that means you're not a web developer, you're a web designer. Why can't you move to becoming a web developer as well? So that you can provide a full solution, front end, back end, database systems and all that. Then I met somebody else who's an app developer, and I said, what platform do you use? He said, Flutter. Good. So that means you can help with this particular app that does something on security. And he said, no, that one, you have to meet someone that knows Android Studio because I only know a bit of Flutter. I'm not into... And these people will go around telling you, I'm a developer. You are a developer, but you have not even fully developed yourself. So it's time to start having a training system that gives these people, enthusiasts, as I'll call them, the full knowledge of what they need to provide a solution. If they have that, then we can start talking about having skills developed outside the university that can actually solve industrial problems. So the step I think to take is that let's have a curriculum that every training center can use. It shouldn't be based on just, I know this, so I'll teach you this. No. What is the scope of that particular skill?
Okay.
You want to be a full-stack web developer, you need to learn Python, you need to learn Java, you need to learn database SQL, you need to learn how to build a server, cloud system, cloud computing. Once you teach them all of that, they can go on and solve problems in the health sector. You have many hospitals now trying to migrate into management information systems where patients and doctors can access their records. That's the person that can solve it if he knows front end, back end, and all that. And I'm looking at how eventually we can have training centers using that same curriculum all over the country to solve this, to bridge this gap. So hopefully that's why I said I can handle that. But I agree that I alone cannot do that. We will need collaborative support from the government in terms of supporting agencies that will train or fund the training and other players in the field.
Okay, just to be sure, I get what you're saying. Are you calling for an association of this training center, or you're calling for a regulation of these training centers?
I am calling for a regulation. Yes, a regulation. For example, in the UK, there's a City Guide certificate. And if you're going to train anybody to get that certificate, you must achieve that curriculum. The same way we have with WAEC in the secondary school. If there's a regulation, fine, there can be as many training centers as possible, but there should be a curriculum we are all training towards so the person can sit for an exam. In Canada, for example, you can claim to be an electrical engineer, but you have to write an exam set by the government to prove your capacity. So if you are saying that you have the training, but you can't pass that exam, then everybody knows you're not fully qualified. So that's the sort of thing we don't have in Nigeria at the moment. Maybe it's something that NBTE, the National Board for Technical Education, can look into, but it's critical that we have that for skills like this. Not just welding and co now, but software development, hardware, app development, robot development, cybersecurity, and so on.
So I do understand that you're at the practical end of things.